John and I had a call back when I used to do one-to-one calls privately like this, one-to-one over a phone, not in the squad group. And I know I don't do coaching at all anymore. He was one of the people in the 3 months that I did one-to-one coaching back in 2021, early 2021. And you're going to hear in this video his interview about his whole journey when he came on the call with me and didn't have his SP and everything he's gone through, engaged, got her back, engaged, married, divorce papers, and now what's happening.
Hey.
Hey! Hi, darling!
Oh God, I feel like I'm in a coaching call again.
Hey, oh, this is what it was like, wasn't it? Did we do it over? No, we didn't do it
Yeah,
Facebook. It was kind of like this. It was Messenger, wasn't it, or something?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, darling, when was it? Can you remember exactly what it was?
No, I really can't.
March or something, 2021, March, April, somewhere around that
Mm,
time, maybe.
Possibly June time.
Oh, okay,
Really
really?
don't know.
Okay. And I remember you got up really late in the middle of the night and you swapped your call with someone else. So you were doing it before you're working in the morning.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Oh, how are you, darling?
I'm great. How are you?
So you tell us anything you want to tell us, because I've got here so many of your posts from the squad. So John's been with me a long time, and we've collected up a lot of your success stories and posts and comments and things. And John's actually a mentor in the group, and I chose John because once he'd done the call and once he'd really worked on himself and gone through all these journeys, he really understood this and he answered really great questions, right? And it's whether John wants to talk about the whole story, because it was so great and we were going to do a success call back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Just
know,
never got
maybe
around to it.
never got around to it. I was always not getting around to anything because I was so fucking busy, and never got around to it. And then stuff started to happen in your life that we were like, oh, okay, maybe we won't do it now, maybe we won't do it now. We won't get into exact things. And then
Yeah,
disaster struck. And then it's like, okay, we won't have the call now, I
yeah.
guess.
It's probably not the best
Probably
time,
not the
no.
best time. So, John, you tell us what you want to tell us. So, why did you come to me for a call?
Well, it was mainly because, well, as everyone knows, it was just mainly to get my SP back. That was really the only reason. Um,
Yeah.
everything else in my life seemed to be going well, but unfortunately, I lost my SP through, obviously, at the time, not knowing through my own thinking, and obviously I fucked everything up, as you know. Oh, sorry, I just want to state to everybody there probably will be a lot of swearing on
Oh,
this.
it's me. You're going to have to get used to it.
Me
But
and
the
Loz
thing
are
is,
very
John,
alike when it comes to this sort of shit.
but the thing is, John, had you watched a lot of my stuff to know what the call was going to be like? Did you know that I was going to be really delving into your childhood and stuff?
I had a rough idea, yes, because obviously I found you randomly on TikTok
Like a lot of
one
people.
day. Yeah, and I thought I'm not going to lie. Obviously, at first I thought like, what is this girl on about? But obviously, as time went on, and obviously I watched video after video after video, I thought to myself, this is actually making
Making
sense.
sense.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's actually me, not them, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just thought, well, it's obviously me, obviously back in the day, I was a very negative thinker, as, everybody else here has
Mm-hmm.
been as well. Um, so I just thought, the best way to dive into everything is to try and get a private call, a private coaching session.
Yeah.
So,
And I remember our call quite emotional, and I'm trying to remember what got us so emotional. I think it was talking mostly about your childhood. We don't have to go into it if you don't want, but I
no, it's
remember it
fine.
being a
It's
very emotional call because we dug quite deep, didn't we, into your background and
very,
your childhood and your
very deep.
parents and.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very
So, can you
deep,
remember
yeah.
much about that? What we uncovered?
It was more, well, I think it was more from obviously my father's side of things. Obviously, he left my mum when I think I was around 2 or 3 years old. So obviously that's probably at the peak of when
That's
you know
really
your
young.
subconscious is when your subconscious is obviously forming. And obviously, you know, I've ended up taking that throughout my life. Obviously, he was barely around throughout my childhood. Obviously, my mum, bless her, she did, you know, everything she possibly could for me and my sister. But obviously, you know, raising two kids on your own is obviously a difficult task. So obviously, I didn't hold any resentment or anything towards her, but obviously my childhood wouldn't exactly be as perfect as it could be.
Yeah.
So obviously throughout my life, obviously I stemmed this belief that obviously I wasn't worthy, I wasn't chosen.
And do you think that you realized in that call that then you might have had a story that, oh yeah, the logical explanation for my brain is always like, and then they're going to leave.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
It was the main focus was obviously everybody leaves.
Everybody leaves. Right.
Yep.
And so what will happen is, and John is a testament to this, is that if you already were a negative thinker, and a lot of us have been, and look, there's people that come on my calls and they'll say, oh, well, you know, don't know what my childhood was like or something. And I think, mate, if you knew what my childhood was like, my childhood, you wouldn't be so mean to me. But anyway, there's some of us who've had childhoods that crash hot. And I'm not saying my childhood was terrible, but there were elements of my childhood that made me the person I was. By the time I was an adult, I was very negative, right? And I will naturally go back to that negative. I have to fight it.
Yep.
Right? My brain is like an automatic seeking system back to that negative, right? It's taken me so long to get here. And if anyone knew me, and this is why we're kind of similar, we're saying you're a negative thinker. If anyone knew me back in the day, like when I went to university or high school, especially uni days when I probably was a bit angrier, and knew I was doing this and saw me doing this and saw me all rah positive, they'll probably think I'd had like a lobotomy and I'd lost my mind, because I'm so different from the way I used to be, because I used to jump to the negative straight away, and I could never, anyone who was rah positive, I used to go the rah positive. Anyone who's rah positive used to drive me crackers, right? I think, right? So what happened with you that I could see was that set point that you were at before the call, when all this happened, you got everything. Let me just go back to it later, everything that happened and, you know, the journey. But I just want everyone to remember, when you start at a set point of negative, or you start at a set point of depressed or upset or grieving that you've lost a relationship, right? And then you work on yourself and you get up here and you've got the relationship back and you've even got engaged or married in John's case. Maintain this. Because if you don't, you go back to there. And sometimes you go back to there and then you go even further down into the depths, through there, down into the depths of fucking hell, into the core of the earth, into the fiery pit, because you can't believe that you got all the way up here, fucked it, and you ended up down here in the fiery pit of the earth, right? That's what I think John did. And he had worked on himself so enormously, and I could see him going into the fiery pit at some point. I could see it. And I was like, what's he doing? Right? But you've got to understand that those of you who've got really bad circumstances right now, John's were amazing and then terrible. So we talked about last week how someone had amazing circumstances, finding marriage, getting married after terrible circumstances, being kicked out their home and everything. John's, I think, would have been even worse, because he would have thought to himself what he just said then. And what did you just say about how you lost her in the first place?
Through my negative thinking, it was always
said a phrase about yourself.
What did I say?
I fucked it up.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
And what did you think when you lost her again?
That's exactly it. I fucked it up.
Right. So guys, we'll go back to the same thinking we always have, which is, oh, I fucked it up again. If we're already like that, and John and I are very similar, and my automatic belief when things go wrong for me, I say the exact same thing, right? And my automatic thing is, it's all my fault. I fucked it up, blah, blah, blah. Now, I know we're talking about causation here and everything comes from us, but when you're a person who already beats yourself up, you think it's your fault anyway. And you think you fucked it up anyway. Easy. Yep. So I can't even imagine what you've gone through as a person who already thinks they fucked up things already automatically thinks they're in the wrong. And now you've done this to yourself. I can't even imagine the hell you put yourself through, John, honestly. Because I bet you did.
Yeah, it was horrible. Like it wasn't just losing Sam. Obviously, it was more. It was a spiral event. Obviously, my work life deteriorated from it. It started to, yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that part.
Yeah, obviously my personal relationship with my son. Obviously, there was a little bit of animosity between me and him.
Really?
Yeah, obviously, you know, losing the kids, losing my stepkids, like it's just
terrible.
Yeah.
So we'll go back.
Horrible.
We'll talk about. But I just want you guys to understand this is how quick it can turn around if you guys don't maintain this. And I just want you guys to use John as an example, and that's why he's here, because he was such an amazing example of someone who completely turned his mind around and got what he wanted, but then in losing it again, he's an example of his thinking. Because what did I just say his two major thoughts are? They're going to leave me and I fuck everything up. So didn't he magically do what he already thinks he's going to do? Then he beat himself up for it.
Yep.
But it's automatic, because when you go back to the automatic setting you already had, if you don't maintain it, you go back to it. It's like a person who's really fucking obese, goes to the gym, works their goddamn ass off, does the diet, looks fucking amazing, you know, like one of those people in The Biggest Loser show. They've lost all the weight, and they go back home and shit starts to happen and life starts to happen and then they just go back, and then people go, what happened to you? And they go, I don't know. What happened to them was they went back to the set point they always were. They didn't have the Biggest Loser person yelling in their face. They didn't have the gym there. They didn't have the motivation, right? And sometimes we can all get complacent, but it's because of things that happen in your life sometimes as well. So John had some things happen in his life that would logically make him negative. So he, as a person who naturally goes to the negative, when something negative in life happens, he would have actually, as a human being, had to have been even more vigilant than the normal average bear, right? Because he knows that he automatically already goes there. So when shit happens to him, now going forward, he's going to have to know, oh, hang on, I can't let my brain slide again, right? Because when you're already the person who goes to the negative, you've got to be extra vigilant. When you're the person who already opens the fridge and stuffs their face, Biggest Loser style, and binge eats, you've got to put a lock on the fridge. Right? So what we're going to talk about in this is how John masterfully manifested Sam back, how all the wonderful stuff happened, and then kind of how the undoing of it all happened, and then how he had to rebuild. Because I want you guys to understand it's so possible to rebuild, but sometimes it seems like if this had happened to anyone else in my group, I don't know if they could have come back from it. Like there's a lot of people in my group who might have thrown up their hands and been like, I give up, right? You didn't. So I think you need to, first of all, give yourself enormous props for the fact that you didn't just go, oh, well, this is fucked.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm not. I'm not going to lie to you. There were a few times where I did think to myself, look,
it's not going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I did think, and again, I'm not going to lie. I did honestly think to myself, you know, I give up. But then I remember watching one of your videos basically saying if you give up on what you're manifesting, you're basically giving up on yourself, and that that clicked for me.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And obviously, like I said, it was more of a motivation than anything else.
Right.
Because I did think to myself, if I give up on this, then yeah, I am giving up on myself. I am giving up on my power.
Yeah.
I am giving up on
on what you already knew you had, which was the power. But somewhere there you felt like you lost it.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And when things seem beyond your control, you sometimes forget who you are and you forget your power.
Yeah, it's easy to. That's the thing, and that's why I try to tell people within the squad. It is so easy to go into that negative thinking. It's so easy to think that it's too hard, it's too difficult. But again, if you're saying that it's too difficult, you're affirming that exact thing.
Exactly.
So you're not going to get what you want. You're not going to get what your self-concept. Yeah, your self-concept is in the toilet just by saying that.
Exactly. So let's go right back. So when you had the call and you'd lost Sam, so it was bad. So you'd broken up. You were in a breakup. You weren't talking, were you?
No contact.
No contact at all. And was there like third party involved or anything like that?
Yes, there was. Yeah.
So then, what do you think you did after the call that managed for you guys to get back in contact? Like, what did you work on? What were you doing?
Well, it was solely self-concept. For what was it? I believe obviously I was like everybody else. I fell into the whole law of attraction bullshit.
We all did
to begin with. But I think it was after our call that the penny dropped for me, where obviously I distinctly remember you saying, like, when you focus on you, she will focus on you. And obviously at first I was a bit skeptical. I thought, well, how is that possible? Just like I see other people asking that very same question. How is that possible? But I just thought, well, you know what you're talking about. So,
and so what were you doing? What was your, like, did you have a routine, or were you saying affirmations, or were you not flipping your thoughts, but were you like being really active with the new story in your mind? What were you doing?
It was all of the above. I mean, I was very, I wasn't necessarily, I wasn't necessarily robotic or firming, because that for me, it was tiring, and it was just for me, it didn't feel natural.
I used to give affirmations back in the call, like in the day, and I will give you guys affirmations on lives. And some people think when I say the affirmations that's all they have to do. No. I'm giving you new thoughts to think, right? So I'm not giving you like a routine to sit there and go, I am chosen, I am chosen, I am chosen, I am chosen. Oh, I've said 20 times. Now we go away. So John was taking a whole approach here. He was like living in the end with Sam.
Yep.
He was being the new him with the new thoughts. And then the affirmations I'd given him, the discussions we'd had in the call, the new story he was going to have about himself, throwing away the old story, banishing the old story thoughts. He was doing the whole thing. So I think some of you don't seem to understand when you write underneath these fucking lives, what affirmations did you use? Someone even wrote it under Holly's interview last week. I'd love to know what relationship affirmation she used. I almost fucking stabbed myself in the eye reading that. I was like, did you not listen? She kept saying to you the whole time, she became the new version of herself and she got rid of the old her. She didn't just sit there saying one relationship affirmation robotically. So John did a whole approach here, really rebuilt himself, right? And then what do you think happened that moved it towards you guys getting in contact, or you feeling like you could contact her?
It was more, I believe it was just more, I was so confident in myself and my, well, for lack of a better word, my power, that I just reached out to her. I didn't feel that it was coming from any source of desperation or anything like that.
Me first, say, I'm thinking of reaching out to her, and I said, go ahead. where you
Did I do
asked
that?
me.
Oh no, that was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's literally sitting right by me now, reminding me of what I actually did.
You did, didn't you? You don't have to be on the
No,
conference
it
call
wasn't.
if you don't want, Sam. No pressure, but we love you.
No, it's fine. I'm listening.
She's listening.
No,
Oh,
actually, yeah, it wasn't a case of it wasn't actually a case of sending a message. Her birthday was coming up,
that's what it was.
and
That's right.
I just decided to just purchase some flowers for her because it was just a nice thing to do. That's just the sort of guy I am, and obviously I didn't mind. It wasn't a case of I'm expecting something to come of this. It was just, like I said, I'm sending you flowers, so you know, if anything happens from it, great. If not, then I'm okay with that.
And then
It's
what
not a problem.
happened when you sent the flowers? Tell us.
I sent flowers, and what was it? Literally about 3 or 4 days after your birthday, she reached out.
So you sent them, and then what? There was 3 days of nothing.
3 days of nothing. Yeah.
Damn.
I was on
How rude.
holiday. I was on
She was on holiday. She was on holiday at the time.
I'm kidding. So you had to wait 3 days. So what were you doing with the 3 days? Were you sitting there going, "Oh, I fucked it up," or were you going, "No"?
No. It was all about me. It was
Good.
all about me.
And then what happened when you got back in touch? So she messaged you and said what? What'd you say?
Oh God! Now you're asking. Yeah, what did you say?
I think I just said thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, I said thank you because I knew it was from you because
Yeah.
you put my nickname on them.
Oh.
Yeah, put a
Lovely.
nickname.
Oh, lovely.
And everyone else knew I was on holiday, so it
Oh,
wouldn't
so
be
you
someone
came back and
I
they were
knew.
there and
Yeah.
put a nickname on them and then, oh no. Oh, lovely. And then what? And then did you ring her or what happened?
Yeah, I think we were just in contact for pretty much the whole day, weren't we?
Yeah. And then I'll come to meet you.
And then she came to meet me, and then the rest was history.
Yay! Okay, and then
And
how long after that did you guys get engaged?
what was that? It was about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, because I went away in the summer and it was just before Christmas.
That's right. Yeah, it was just before Christmas when
Right.
It was my birthday.
I popped the question.
4 months.
Oh, how lovely. And you guys, you've got, and Sam's got kids.
Yes, she has
Right.
3.
Okay. And were you guys all living together by then or?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got a wonderful relationship with the kids, so I mean
that's really good.
they were more than happy. They were more than happy with accepting me in the family.
And then I was fossicking through this drawer next to me last night to try and find the wedding invitation that you sent me. Do you think I can fucking find it? I'm so angry. It's fallen down the back of it. I have all the special things everyone sent me in this drawer, and do you think I can find it? I had it special. I was going to hold it up, show everyone. Look at the wedding invite. Anyway, I never got there, sadly, even though I'm British and I would love to have come over, but I never got there, unfortunately.
It was lovely. It was a brilliant day, wasn't it?
Well, from what I can remember.
Oh, Sam.
Oh yeah. Someone got a little bit too drunk that day.
What was that?
I said somebody got a little bit too drunk that day.
Yeah.
Looking at the picture, Sam, you look absolutely glorious. You look so beautiful. So we all saw the pictures in the group, guys, and we all knew it was coming up. So that was August, wasn't it? 2022?
Yep.
August 2022. Right. Okay. So then, how was your relationship going? Everything was great.
Yeah. Everything was great up until manifested a new house, new car.
That's right.
In the meantime,
we saw all the photos.
everything was going great. And then I think it was roughly in July. I'll say July. I think obviously I was doing the TikTok lives, preaching everything that you taught, and everything was going great.
Yeah, Sam
and
was going live on TikTok. Although Sam, did you go together? Oh, one time you did. I think I saw one.
She more near the end, yeah.
Yeah. But John was doing them at first, and it was questions because everyone knew John's story. You've got to understand, John has been in my group for so long. Everyone knew John's story and everyone wanted to hear from John, right? So people kept asking questions. So he went on TikTok and started actually answering the questions, which was amazing. Right. So around July, and then what happened, do you think?
The thing is, the funny thing with it is that I can't exactly remember where I started with the negative thinking, but it was like I basically I believe I got to a point where, and this is where most people make their mistake, where everything was going great, so I felt
Too good to be true.
I felt that it was too good to be true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and even with that negative thinking, I didn't think that I needed not so much I needed to stay on my self-concept. It was like it just went.
Just went. Now, do you think there's stuff that happened with you guys that we won't talk about? Do you think that contributed to the deterioration of you mentally?
Possibly, yes.
I think so. And I think that when you have incidents or events that happen in your relationship that affect you guys, that's when you will go backwards if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Because you're not aware you're going backwards.
No. Yeah, that's exactly it. I wasn't aware of it at all.
You know, I reckon you were saying to yourself,
Awful.
Yeah.
You were saying that to yourself?
Say that again. Sorry.
Do you think you were saying it's my fault or?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I did as well. I think it was both of us.
Right.
We both lost
right.
it. We both lost
so,
the whole.
So you were feeling
thinking.
really good about yourself and positive about everything, and one bad incident happens, which is heartbreaking and hard for you guys, and you're both, if you're that way inclined, start blaming yourselves, or blaming the other person, or it just allowing you guys to get in easy arguments, or thinking that you're not good enough.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Right. So I think, John, knowing what you used to be like, your two things your brain would have gone to after that would have been, oh, I've got balloons in front of my face. Would have been, it's my fault. Good enough. If I was good enough, this wouldn't have happened.
This wouldn't have happened. Yep, exactly.
And then you know what I reckon you started to think? She'll pick someone else.
Yeah.
Not consciously.
No, yeah, you're spot on, 100% spot on.
I could then see, we're Facebook friends, you writing weird comments. Just comments that I thought, what? And you'd write something like, those of you who don't know us, or something. Or people who aren't in your life don't really know you, or you know who your friends are. And I'd be like, what the fuck is he on about? And I just see these posts and I was like, is John feeling all right? Right? Just little things like that. Is he okay? Why do you think you were posting that stuff?
Again, just because I'm not. Do you know what? I'm not. I wouldn't even know where to start onto why I was posting that stuff. Because if I'd have stayed on my self concept, I wouldn't feel the need to.
Right. What was that, Sam?
Reaching for help when you do things like that.
Right.
Needing validation. Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. Also, like validation from other people outside. Like to put things on Facebook is almost like people to recognize you're going through something, or it's almost like you want people to know you're not feeling right, or you want people to reach out and be like, mate, are you all right? Or it's like sometimes when people do things like that, I don't think we realize why we're doing it. And then you think, why did I even post that? But then you think, was I kind of subconsciously wanting everyone to know I was kind of going through some stuff? Or I don't know. I don't know why. But it's amazing when we do that kind of stuff and we don't know why we're doing it. But I could see it. And then what do you think happened? Did you guys start arguing or something? Or what happened in the 3D that kind of deteriorated?
We were bickering all the time.
Which we never done.
Finding, what was it? pretty much finding any reason
Yeah.
to have an argument.
Right, really?
Yeah.
Which we never done.
Which, yeah,
Which
we
you've never
hardly ever
done.
did. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then what happened? How did it all just go from bickering to we're splitting up?
Yeah, pretty much.
But how? What happened? What was the impetus?
Just out of nowhere, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was just out of nowhere. It was just,
I got up one morning and just said, we're done.
Did you?
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I went to my dad's.
And Sam, is that the way you split up before?
Yeah, that is my technique. Yeah, that is what I do.
Say to you, is that your way of doing things? Because that's mine. I normally send the we're done, or you obviously don't care about me, or oh well, forget about it, and I push someone away before they're going to hurt me.
That's me.
Right.
That's my abandonment issues.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So
I push, whereas John's clingy.
Right.
He clings on, whereas I push.
Right, you'll push away. And so I knew that for it to have been so blunt, one of you must have done that. Right? Because when it happens quickly, it's normally one person goes, bye. So I was trying to figure out which one of you it was.
It was me.
You're like me, Sam. Okay, so I used to do that all the time. And then when you did that, Sam, did you feel like, what did you feel like afterwards? Like you'd made a good decision, or what did you think?
Try and convince myself it was the right thing.
Right. Okay. And so for ages, did you think it was the right thing?
I knew deep down it wasn't.
Right.
But I was like, no, because I'm a Leo, so I'm very like fiery.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I'm right. He's wrong.
He's wrong. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then what happened then with you guys? Were you just not talking?
No, because I'm stubborn as well, so I'll just
No,
block.
but I believe I pushed her away a little bit more because again, my self-concept was in the toilet. So obviously I kept reaching out to try to save it, to try to get that validation that I needed and wanted. Right. So yeah, and this is what came obviously when I took one of your courses. I believe it was either a kick ass you or worthy as fuck for love. When you mentioned obviously the neediness and everything, and that in turn still pushes them away. That's when I was like, I did that.
Oh, I did that. And so you hadn't done those courses when you did the call with me, because back in the day I hadn't even written them.
No.
Yeah. So then you did those, and I remember when you did Worthy as Fuck for Love, you were like, oh, that helped me.
Oh yeah.
Something in that helped you. This cat just needs to be attention seeker. What are you doing? No one wants to see your ass.
Ask a question.
Right. So then you just weren't talking. You'd blocked him, had you, Sam?
Yeah.
Right. And then you ended up in another relationship, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right. And was this the same person as before?
No.
Oh, thank God. I thought it might be the same person as before. But was it someone, and we don't have to go into it, but was it someone that you already knew of, John, or didn't like, or
no.
It wasn't?
No.
Oh, it wasn't. Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
No. However, when we split, I did have the fear that there would be someone else. Not necessarily when we were together. Obviously, I don't.
But once you split up.
But once we split up, yeah. So obviously, I created that. There's no doubt in my mind that I created that.
Yeah. And then I think you did the courses. So then I think you did Kick Ass You then, and then Worthy as Fuck for Love, or?
Well, there was obviously when you had Back and Begging in the squad. Obviously, right. I paid full attention to that. Obviously, with the forgiveness meditation and everything. Obviously, there was a few tears with that. And obviously, I knew that was the key to obviously starting this whole process over again. To everyone that's listening now, if you're not able to forgive your specific person and forgive yourself, you're fucked. I'm sorry to put it as bluntly as that, but you are. Because at first I wasn't able to forgive her or myself. I was beating myself up for quite some time.
Right. Right. And for
But
you
after,
guys to have got to this point where you're at now, you would both have to forgive each other. But that the key is you forgiving the whole situation, forgiving her and yourself, isn't it? Because how could you get back
exactly,
together? There'd be resentments. You'd end up in a fight about something that happened. One of you'd bring up what happened. You have to.
Yep.
It has
Yep.
just has to be done. Otherwise, it won't be repaired. Right. And so back in
Exactly.
vegging, what John's referring to, deep dives a lot into the forgiveness part of it. It's very heavy on the forgiving your specific person part and forgiving yourself, right? Yeah. So then after you did that, then what were you kind of doing? I know you started going to the gym.
Yep, it was from then on. Obviously, I created a specific scene in my head with us two back together, and obviously I just stuck with that. And then I just focused on myself. Obviously, I did what was it? I did a kick-ass you, and that was pretty much a reminder of what I'm capable of and what I need to do in order to
and the stuff you
to fix
already
everything.
knew. The stuff you probably already knew.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm getting at. Obviously, there was a point where I'd forgotten everything. I'd forgotten everything. And obviously the affirmations that obviously were given at the end of the course, believe it or not, were the affirmations that you gave me in the coaching call.
Right.
So
then you thought, I haven't been thinking this.
I haven't been thinking this, exactly. So obviously I just stuck with those affirmations, basically putting them on repeat in my mind whenever necessary. Obviously focused on myself, like you said. Obviously went to the gym, like, making myself look better, feel better.
Yeah, and you were getting so buff. I was like, oh my god, going every day. What's going on?
Obsessed.
and you just heard it. Now she's obsessed.
So Sam, did you see him getting buffer and everything on Facebook or anything? Or
of course, I was a stalker.
Oh,
of course.
Wow. So you could see it.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
I need to message this one.
That's so funny. So did you suspect or were you thinking that she'd be looking at you or seeing you or thinking that, or what were you thinking around that time, John, about?
If I'm being honest with you, I wasn't. Obviously, the only time I really thought about Sam is just anything positive. Like whenever she would pop into my mind, it would be a case of, how can I put it? It's like, it's fine. I know that she's missing me.
Right.
And obviously, I'd end that with, rather than it being just an SP affirmation, I'd finish it off with a self-concept affirmation.
Right.
So
like what? Like, give us an example.
So just for example, off the top of my head, it'll be like, I know that she's missing me because I'm so unforgettable.
Right. Great.
So
And then we drive past each other.
And then because my work, obviously where I work, is literally 5 minutes down the road from us. So it was pretty much inevitable that we'd end up driving past each other, or at least
time, and you were still blocked, or sorry, Sam, what were you saying?
See, like our initials on number plates and little things like that.
Oh, really? And you were noticing stuff like that?
Yeah, because then it makes you think of them.
Of course. And so is that what you were doing, Sam? So over this time, even though you blocked him,
you
were starting to think about him.
Yeah. Always little signs, always.
Oh, that's so funny. And then what do you think you started thinking that was different? So before you were angry at him, before you blocked him, what do you think you started thinking that was different?
That I missed him.
That you missed him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then, so when you were driving past each other, what do you mean? So one day you saw each other?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe there was
3 times. I think it was.
Yeah, I believe there was one time. I was actually joining up to the gym that day.
You were turning off to go to the gym and
I
I
was
was going
I was
to
turning off to go to the gym, and she was sitting there at the traffic lights waiting to turn into the same turn in the same road as as what I was going down.
And what did you
Next thing you
do?
know, she's right behind
And then
me.
she's right behind you. And what happened? Did you wave at each other, or what happened?
No, I
the
didn't.
kids noticed your car.
Oh, there you go.
My son
The
was
kid.
like, "There's John."
Oh, that's so funny.
No, I didn't do anything. I just carried on straight to the gym and just done my thing.
Yeah. And you really were doing your thing. And then what? And then you saw each other another time?
Yeah, when was it? I think I was on my
Was it your work?
yeah, I was on my lunch break, and I was turning into the main gate, and she was sitting there waiting to come out of another turning.
But you didn't say hello to each other or anything?
No, no, no.
Saw
If
each other a third time? Yeah.
if anything, I more than likely thought if I do anything, it's sort of fucking with the 3D.
Right. You just didn't do anything.
So I just yeah, it's like you don't have to do anything. You know, you don't, and obviously everyone's heard you say it many times before. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So I believe it was just more okay. Well, I know that she's seen me, so now she's thinking of me.
You're right.
That's it.
Right.
I just left it at that.
Right. And you were kind of already thinking of him anyway, Sam, and kind of missing him anyway around this time?
Yeah.
Oh, I love
So
that.
it's like, am I seeing him for real for a reason?
Right. You're doing the old law of attraction. Is the universe sending me signs? Is the universe sending me?
I've already told her it's a load of bullshit. It's a load of bullshit.
But things will move to make it so.
Things will move.
Drive down the same street and see each other. You will see, JH somewhere. You will. Because it's moving to make it happen. You're noticing his initials. Your brain's noticing it, and it's almost like seeking it out to remind you. Think of him. Think of him. Right? So then you saw each other like a third time.
I was going in the shop, and then you messaged me. I was like, "You look fucking good."
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I
think that was the first time.
Yeah, that was the first time I messaged. I didn't get a reply.
That was like time. Literally days after.
Yeah, I didn't get a reply that time, but even then, I didn't let it get to me. It was just like, okay, well, I know that you've read it. It's fine. I'm still focusing on me. I'm still doing my thing. And then
you sent the kids cards.
I sent the kids Christmas cards because the way I saw it, I was still their stepdad. So didn't get a thank you, but that again didn't bother me because it was the right thing to do. In my eyes, it was just the right thing to do. I didn't do it out of desperation. And then when was it? It was January, wasn't it? Mid-January. So I don't even know what brought it on, but one evening I was just reminiscing about good times and stuff like that, and I just thought, you know what, let me message her just one more time. So I messaged her again. Didn't care if I got a reply or anything. It didn't matter to me whatsoever. And then lo and behold, I went to work the next day, didn't even think of checking for any messages. I got home that night, and lo and behold, there's a message from her.
And I was a desperate one then. I was waiting 6 hours for a reply.
Oh, no, Sam! Kept you hanging. And then what happened?
Then we just.
Well, I dropped Ruben to his theatre the next day and found an excuse to come and see you at work.
Yeah.
Oh, you found an excuse to go see him. Oh, good.
Yeah. As soon as I finished work, obviously I drove around the corner, met her, and didn't say a word. I just walked up to her and gave her a big kiss.
And that was it.
And that was it. Yeah.
Oh,
every day since.
John, can you do me a favour? Can you reach behind you and show us your big wedding photo you've got there?
Show this one here. This one.
So
Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, look at that. What's that? You got another one, Sam?
there's
Yeah.
another one hiding behind me. Yeah.
How beautiful. Look at your dress. You look like a supermodel. Beautiful. Oh, guys. So then what? So then it was just time hadn't passed and you're back together.
So yeah, obviously we talked about everything that was that we got up to. Obviously during our time
Mhm.
apart.
Mhm.
And honest.
Yeah, we were just open and honest with everything. No,
Good.
no,
Secrets,
no
lies.
secrets, no lies, no,
Mhm.
no sugarcoating things.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Better than we've
we're
ever been.
better than we've ever been.
Oh, how do you think you're better than you've ever been? Why do you think that, Sam? What about it's better?
I'm just more obsessed with him. I don't even want him out of the room. I don't even want him going to work.
I just like to say that one of my affirmations are she's obsessed with me. So
Get out of the bag. We're not meant to tell her that.
well, she knows.
He can't keep it a secret. Whenever I say something, if it's one of his affirmations, he just smiles at me and I know.
No, really? Oh, that's so funny. It's so funny though, Sam, because you're aware of it. We another partner might be like, but you're like, okay, yeah, I am saying what you were thinking. You know what I mean? It's great because you're not thinking it. It's not like it's not your thinking.
Yeah,
You are thinking it,
yeah, of course.
and we know how this works. So it's they're your thoughts.
But guys, it does work because he's taught me a hell of a lot.
What
I'm a very
What do you mean?
positive person. I'm very positive now, aren't I?
Very.
Good. So
I haven't
what were you
cried in a
like
month.
before?
I haven't cried in a month since we've been back together.
Crying about before?
Just everyday crap.
Really?
Yeah. And now everything just gets spun round to be positive.
Oh, how brilliant. Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's so good. And so now you're just feeling like, oh, well, I can control it or I can handle it or
Yeah, yeah.
that's amazing.
We're just trying it on my daughter now as well.
Even if she doesn't, she still has me there to be like, stop it.
Right. Mm-hmm. And
So
sometimes it's not like you're telling someone off. It's just kind of like you don't react. Like I know I've got someone in my life and they'll say something and I'll be like, that's a story. And they'll be like,
Mhm.
what? And I'll be like, that's a hell of a story you've got there. Oh, just what? Okay, because what am I going to say? Like I could sit there and try and teach them, but until the penny hasn't dropped with them yet, so I'm just like, till the penny drops, I'm not going to sit here and like spell it out for you, right? And I was talking to my brother the other night, and he was like, that person needs to watch this person, oh, and your videos, and I'm like, okay, well, until they want to go and do it, but they're going to want to do it, right? So Sam, it's not like John's trying to get Sam to be like him. She's open to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good idea not to try and change someone's mind. But if you just decide they're as positive as you or your life is harmonious, that person will naturally become more positive, I think. You know,
that's it.
like your relationship's great, which means you'd both be equally positive. So that's so amazing, guys. It's so amazing. So let me just scroll down and see if there's any questions, because I know people have heaps of questions here. And
Mainly be for me now.
what was that, Sam?
That mainly be for me, I think.
They will. Hang on, let me scroll up. Okay, these are hard to read. I've heard that you don't have to do anything with the 3D so much today. I'm not messing with 3D anymore. Yes, exactly, darling. Don't do that. Having conversations here. Okay, I want to ask, if you're in contact with your SP, should you continue to stay? Why are you asking just random shit, guys? We're meant to be asking John shit. Each other.
Don't set her off.
God damn it. Hang on. Where's the questions for John, guys? You guys are just having whole fucking conversations here. Hang on. Oh, stunning Sam. Someone's written, stunning Sam, beautiful picture, both gorgeous. I want your jawline. Beautiful. Healthy, obsessed. Yes. Okay, who's got a question for John? Hang on. Dan she's literally saying my affirmation. I want SP to say to me, yes. All right, guys, hang on. How obsessed she is, it's beautiful. Oh, guys, can you have some questions for John? Where are they? Wait a minute. I'm scrolling down. No one's asked them yet. Okay, here we go. How did family react? How did you handle any naysayers? That's a good question.
Well,
I'll let you answer that one.
In the beginning, obviously they reacted very, very negatively about it. I'm currently working on changing, not so much changing everyone's mind, but changing everybody's this whole situation in general.
Yeah.
When it came to naysayers or anybody that would ask, how's it going, and I just changed the subject.
Right.
Because it'd just be a case of, look, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, this is before you got back together. You're talking about.
Yeah.
You were saying I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So any of you who are stuck on what to say, just say I don't want to talk about it. You can say you don't want to talk about it to people. Why do you have to fucking talk about every little thing?
That's it. Because the way I saw it, if I still talk about the fact that we're not together and we're not talking,
you're keeping the old story alive.
I'm keeping the old story. Exactly. I'm creating more of that. So
more of it. Exactly. And so then what is if there's anyone now in your life, John, just decide that everyone loves it. Everyone loves it now. Like sometimes you feel like you have to work on each individual person. Oh, like my brother thinks this about it now, or sorry, like my sister thinks this about it now, or mum thinks this about it now, or just go, everyone is on board.
Yep.
Everyone's on board. Yep. Everyone loves us back together. Everyone loves it. Right? I would go with that, because then you don't have to worry about each individual person. Sam.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, good. Okay, this is a question for you, Sam. Sam, did you start to feel your feelings change suddenly or slowly?
It was suddenly, because it shocked me. Yeah. Like I said to you, I'm just very impulsive, and I was just like, it's done.
Okay, but what did you feel during the time then when you've broken up and you started to think about him again? What was that, gradual, or was it suddenly you started to really miss him?
I think once I got over the anger, it was back instantly.
Was it? And for how long?
I had to go through the angry stage to then, and then once I'd gone through the angry stage, that was it.
So do you think you were missing him for quite a while before you started bumping into him, or before you saw each other again?
Yeah, 100%.
You were?
Yeah.
And so then what do you think when you saw him again, or when you saw how he was looking at everything on Facebook, do you reckon you started to really think about him a lot?
Yeah. And then that's when I'd want to reach out a lot more.
You wanted to,
but my stubbornness took over.
Right.
I think it was because I remember you saying, obviously, I reached out a couple of times before New Year's. Obviously, there was obviously one of her son's birthdays, obviously Christmas.
You went out of my bed.
Yeah, I went to a football match with her dad. Obviously, he invited me, so I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
But it came to New Year's, and I didn't send you a message, did I?
No, and I was like, why hasn't he sent me a message?
She was actually, it turns out she was actually quite upset that I didn't send her a message for New Year. But it wasn't, it's not that I didn't send her a message out of spite or jealousy or anger or anything like that. I actually spent New Year, for the first time, I actually spent New Year's with my son. So I was generally busy. I just didn't.
Pictures.
Yeah. So, and then, obviously she told me, obviously, when we got back together, that she was quite upset that I didn't message her a Happy New Year.
Oh, that's so cute. Okay, hang on. They've only been back together for a month. They are so in love, like a couple of a lifetime. Oh, that's lovely. So how long have you guys been back together now?
Thank you. It's just over
middle of January.
Yeah, just over a month now. So we'll say 6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah.
And it got so serious that there were divorce papers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, there were divorce papers.
That was my angry stage.
That was your angry thing.
Sorry?
So that was your angry way of really cutting it off, Sam?
And I think because you messaged me, didn't you, saying if you're really
Yeah,
done, then divorce
yeah.
me.
That again, that was my in. I believe that obviously that was my way of. Obviously, I created that
Creating that.
because it was basically a case of if you don't love me anymore, then send me the divorce
Right.
papers and I will sign them.
And I weren't even thinking of divorce papers. It's only because I got that message that I was like, fine, I will then.
Oh God. And that's what you do when you're hurt. You'll be like, well, fuck you then. Like
Yeah,
I'm real good. Like I am so
yeah,
good at the fuck you then message. Like, and I'll, because I
Yeah.
read people so well, I'll include in the fuck you message a whole diatribe of shit about how fucked up they are. And I'll say all the shit that they deep down know about themselves that no one knows. And I'll put it in the message to really hurt them. Right. I do
yeah,
feel good messages like that. Well, I used to.
Yeah.
Right.
And you said to block you as well.
yeah,
So I've
Did
done
you?
that too.
yeah.
What?
Which is
Who
why,
said?
and that's what I'm saying.
Who said
I
fuck you
said
to
it.
who?
Oh no, it was blocked me. I said obviously if we're truly done, if we're
Block
truly
me and
done,
do
then block
it towards
me
someone else.
and I'll wait for the divorce papers.
So you were really giving
And
in, John. You were just like, right, fine then.
yeah,
Right. Shit. That got really bad then. Okay.
yeah.
So then out of kind of
But
spite,
again,
Sam, you were like, fine, I'll divorce you then.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, John?
like, well, it's just it's just proof that you can fuck everything up and not even realize it
Not even realize it. Yep. Exactly.
because you're coming from a desperate state and I believe it was at that point where it was just fine. I give up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I give up. Yeah. And then you had to
Yeah.
find the strength somehow between that. What happened there? How did that happen?
I believe. Well, I think the turning point for it was actually seeing those divorce papers,
Right. How real it was.
and yeah, and that was the realization that shit, I actually brought this on myself.
Right. Okay.
And then obviously I distinctly remember thinking, no, this isn't it. This isn't how I want things to go down.
Right.
I literally messaged you a week before the final stage of divorce.
Yeah, one week.
Because I knew it was coming up. I
Yeah.
had a realization and I was like, I ain't doing that. Because that would have been it.
And so had you already started thinking about her and putting new thoughts in place by then, John?
Oh yeah. It was. When did I start? I started all together. This whole process took around 5 months.
Did it? But then there was
Around
some
5 months.
point that you were sending the new thoughts out, like, no, this is not going to happen. This is not how this is going to go down. We're blissfully, happily married, or whatever you were thinking. And
yeah.
then
I
what,
was.
Sam? Then what, John?
My thinking was in the gutter for I say a good 2 months. There was me putting myself down, which obviously other aspects of my life then started getting affected.
Right.
And this is when I was like, fuck, like what am I doing? What am I thinking?
Right.
Yeah, to have all of this shit go down.
Right.
And that's when I was like, no, I'm changing this.
Right. Good.
And that's when obviously I took a kick-ass you. Like the 3D, that was major for me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because there was many times where I'd let the 3D affect me, and obviously,
In fact, the 3D
like I said,
helped.
yeah, majorly. And that's when I was like, right, let's get back on these affirmations.
Good.
Let's
And someone wrote here, how did you choose your affirmations, John?
How did I choose them? If I'm being honest, it was the affirmations that Loz gave me when I had my coaching call with her. Obviously, it all stemmed from my childhood. Obviously, I am chosen. Nobody would dare leave me. It was those sort of affirmations that made me feel chosen, that made me feel wanted. The
Yeah.
that made me feel like I don't fuck things up.
Right. Right.
And
so for you to have
lo
got
and
so
behold,
low, sorry.
I was just going to say, lo and behold, my work life started to get a
Right.
little bit better day by day.
Yeah.
And that's when I was thinking to myself, look,
This is
you know,
working.
this is what I need. This is what I need to be thinking. This is what,
Right.
this is me. This is my power. This is what I can create. This is what I've been creating for the past 2 years, 2.5 years.
Right.
And obviously my relationship with my son is, you know, it's better than ever.
Yeah. But things started to turn around. So you started to notice, oh, this is working.
Yep.
Good.
Obviously,
okay.
I'd be getting more attention from other women.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I went on dates and whatnot, and you know, but I never strayed with what was up here, with what I was thinking.
John even wrote to me, Sam, and said he felt guilty.
Oh no, he told me, but I told him he doesn't need to feel guilty.
He said, I've been on some dates, I feel guilty. I said, let's go on the dates. It'll all work out. It'll all work out. Sorry, Sam.
That's the thing. Like, I didn't necessarily feel guilty at first, because it was more, it was more, you know, other women were reflecting my self-concept. So it was, I was like, well, why wouldn't I go on these dates? You know, like I can't just sit at home and expect Sam to come back. It was just like, I'm living up here anyway, so it doesn't matter what I do.
So you see what I'm saying, guys, when I say you can still go on dates and stuff, but you're living in here. So see what John's pointing to his brain. Up here, he and Sam were together. Up here, back to normal, right? But the 3D doesn't matter. What you're doing out here doesn't matter, because you know this is your end, right? Some of you really have a hard time with that. But how can I be dating other people? Or how can I? You're like, okay, but I know this is going to happen eventually. So this is just the journey to it. You know what I mean? I'm getting attention, la la la, my self-concept's working. I could see my self-concept's working, whatever John was thinking, right? But he still was in his end up here, right?
I'm never good enough for you anyway.
Hang on, let me read this. Thank you so much for sharing your story, John and Sam. Wishing you a lifetime of love and happiness. Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Hang on, John, with third party in the picture, how did you live in the end? How did you get past the 3D? Is time an issue? I had no idea I was creating this until recently. I acted crazy for the last 4 months. Okay, we don't want to hear about you, Olivia. We're asking the question. So, John, with 3D in the picture, third party, how did you live in the end, and how did you get past the 3D and the time?
I ignored it. I didn't focus on it. It's just as simple as that. I mean, there were times where others would mention it, and but I just ignored it. There's not really any other way I can explain that. What you focus on grows.
Yeah.
If you focus on the fact that your SP is with somebody, then they're going to be with them.
Yeah. And did you ever see any pictures of them or anything like that triggered you, or you did?
Yeah.
And what did you do with that information?
I just ignored them.
Good.
I just ignored them. I didn't feel triggered, or I didn't feel threatened or anything like that, because the way I was seeing things was, I'm working on my self-concept, and the 3D is starting to reflect that. So obviously, whenever I see a picture, I just be like, oh, it don't bother me. I know that she's thinking of me.
Good.
I'm the only one good.
That's it.
Right.
Nobody compares to me.
Brilliant. So someone's written here, John, my situation is very similar. Lost SP, manifested him back, lost him again, signing divorce papers this Thursday. Did you ever get anxious working solely on self-concept? Sometimes I want to focus on SP, but I'm like, no.
There's nothing wrong with focusing on your SP, as long as it's not 100%, as long as you're not solely focusing on them and your current situation. If you're working on your self concept, and you're living in your mind of both of you together, I mean, I don't necessarily want to scare you or anything, but I I did have a I did have a thought that, you know, maybe we would have to get divorced, but up here we'd still be together and we'd
Right.
still be remarried.
Right.
So
So
it doesn't it does not matter
Yeah.
if the papers do get signed, as long as you're living up here as you are together,
Yeah.
and as long as you're focusing on your self concept. Like, obviously, the way I did it, I was worried at times that I was thinking a little bit too much of Sam every now and again. But like I said, when it came to thinking of her, I'd use an SP affirmation, but then finish it with a self-concept affirmation.
And you're going to think of them, guys. You're not going to not think about them. You're doing this
Of course
because
you're
of
not.
them.
Yeah,
You know, like,
of course
you're
you're
going
not.
to think of them. So I don't want anyone to ever think, oh, I can't think about them at all. Of course you fucking do. I've never said never think about them. I think people misread that. I've never said that. I'm saying it's going to be about you changing and then they change. It's not about you going, I'm changing you, I'm changing you, I'm changing you. It's like, I'm changing, then you'll change. I'm going to think about you and how you're changing, but I'm the one changing. That's the difference, I think, guys, some of you don't get. Okay? And so with something like that, like just for this person, you could literally, what John's saying, go and sign the divorce papers and be looking in your SP's eyes saying, you still love me. This isn't over, right? Like John's saying, you could go and do it. It doesn't matter. That circumstance does not matter, as dire as it is, right?
Like, it was never. I never really thought that. Oh, I need to get this done before the divorce papers get signed, because to me that's setting a time frame,
Right.
and I've never ever set time frames when it comes to this sort of stuff.
Right.
Because I personally, because obviously when it doesn't come around by that time
You'll
frame,
freak
you're
out.
thinking you're looking for it. Where is it? Where,
Exactly.
you know?
state then.
So you're confirming to your brain, you're confirming to your subconscious that you don't
Yeah.
have it.
So was it close to being signed, or?
It was very close. It was about a week, about a week before it was due to carried on. Divorce nowadays, there's three stages. I think we went through the first stage of just the initial signing and the intent. I think, and then what was it? It's like 20. It was like,
going to be finalised.
it was going to be finalised.
It was going to be finalised.
It was going to be
God, I
finalised.
didn't realize you could get divorced that quick. So you get married in August and you can get divorced by like a year and a bit later.
Yeah. Well, the initial signing, obviously, and then it was I think it was
6
like
weeks in between each.
Yeah, but then there was also a 20-week time frame for it to be actually finalised.
Really?
Now we've
and then
withdrawn it.
and then obviously 19 weeks into that's when we got back together.
God,
And
that's crazy.
then obviously we withdrew it.
And you withdrew
what
it.
was it? About 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
Yeah,
I think it was about 2 weeks after being together.
In about 3 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be official.
Cancelled.
It'll be officially cancelled in about 3 weeks' time.
Oh, I was so excited when you told me that in the live. Oh. Hang on, let me scroll down. How did you tell her that you manifested her, and what was her initial reaction? Oh, are you talking about back in the day, or are you talking about? Well, anyway, how did you broach that subject about manifestation?
If we're talking about back in the day, she looked at me like I was an absolute idiot.
Really?
Like I didn't know what I was talking about.
I didn't get it.
She didn't get it at all. But obviously, after explaining certain things, and obviously after introducing her to Loz, it clicked for her. And this is another thing. Don't be scared to tell your partner about this sort of thing. I mean, even when we were apart, and obviously I was thinking to myself, no, I'm manifesting her back now. It was more a case of I did have thoughts like, oh well, hold on, she knows about this stuff.
She's going to know I'm doing this. Yeah.
She's going to know what I'm doing.
We do it all
exactly.
the time now, don't we? We look at each other, we're like, we manifested that.
But
We do it all the time.
But yeah, but I didn't. Again, I didn't exactly let that sway me. Otherwise, that to me that would still be giving up. And I'm
that they're going to be scared of
I'm
it.
no quitter.
Exactly, John. Oh, that's brilliant. What were you thinking to combat I fuck things up again? I so resonate with that.
Well, it's basically using the opposite. It's just using the straight opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind is always going to go back to what it feels comfortable with, and obviously, if that stuff's happened in your childhood, then that's what it's comfortable with. That
Mm-hmm.
you fuck things up. So you are going to be constantly fighting your mind. Even now, like I'm not scared to admit, even now, the negative thoughts try to creep in. However, it's all about your mental diet. It's all about catching it, switching it, and sticking with that new thought.
Mm-hmm.
So,
When you had bad thoughts, John, did you flip it and affirm over it? So this is kind of a similar thing. So what do you think your process is? So when you're having those thoughts, what do you think you do? You're saying the opposite?
yeah, I'll basically I'll catch that thought.
Catch it.
Tell those thoughts to fuck off.
Right.
And affirm the opposite.
Right.
Just sticking with the end scene in my mind that that's what's happening. That's what I know is going to happen.
Exactly. How were you able to do the self-concept and imaginal work with such great emotional pain? Like while you're in emotional pain, how were you able to do it?
It was it was the forgiveness. It was the forgiveness meditation that did it for me.
Right.
Because obviously up until that point, I was thinking that shit was impossible to do it again.
Right.
You know, I had so many doubts. No, I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
So many doubts. Obviously, like I said, the world around me looked like it was fucking falling apart.
So why did that forgiveness meditation help, do you think?
Because it was more, I think it was more of a realization that it was because of me and my thinking that all of this shit has happened or is happening. And in order to move forward with it, and in order to not feel the pain anymore, I have to forgive myself.
Right. Yes. Because just
So
forgiving
I'm
Sam
not
isn't enough. Otherwise, with you already beating yourself up, you might have forgiven Sam, but you still might have been beating yourself up.
exactly. I was beating myself up all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I mean. Even when it came to the point where I was obviously I created this, I was beating myself up because I created it.
Right.
So I hadn't forgiven myself.
Mm-hmm. And this is the thing, guys.
Myself at all.
When we realize we create things, I am not saying, and this is something that a lot of people just don't understand, and I wish they would go and listen to Neville and realize I am not the only person saying this. If they listen to every other esoteric coach and every other, person who teaches this, like Joseph Murphy, whoever, they will realize we're not saying it's your fault. We're saying it's cause and effect, right? So the cause was John's thoughts deteriorating, and then the effect was them splitting up and a divorce impending. But he had to decide, okay, I might have caused it, but I'm not going to sit here beating myself and flagellating myself, because John actually recognized that's part of his self-concept, to beat himself up, right? So if you continue to do that, he is still in the old I am of the person who beats himself up and thinks he does things wrong and fuck things up.
That's it.
So how is that going to help? How is he going to be the new him if he's still being the old him, beating himself up? Right? And how is he going to go to the new story of them back together if he's still not forgiven Sam? Right? Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
Thank you for sharing. What did you tell yourself when you were waiting? Like, I feel at times like I'm waiting, and how to not care about third party or about the 3D while in the waiting stage.
To me, it wasn't more of a waiting stage, because again, you're focusing too much on the fact that you don't have what you desire. You're sort of, to me it kind of felt like if ever I thought of the time frame, or the fact that I didn't have it yet, like it kind of felt like I was coming from a desperate energy, like
Right.
you're waiting for something. If you're constantly focused on the fact that you're waiting for it, you're going to manifest more waiting. You're totally, you're always going to be in that state, unfortunately.
And
So
sorry.
So I was just going to say, all I did with that type of situation was just go in my mind, and we are together. So
Right.
I'm not waiting for this to happen because it's already happening.
It's already happening, exactly. And you said before that you had a specific scene in your mind. Did you think of the same scene over and over and over? It was different things.
Same scene
Same
over
scene.
over and over again.
And is that played out in any kind of small way, or?
At the moment, no. But it's us being together, and it's all part of the process. So
you can tell Sam.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Hang on. What's this here? How did you get to the point of forgiveness of both you and Sam? I mean, we kind of talked about the forgiveness, but how do you think you got, like, when did you know you'd fully let it go, like let the resentment go? And
it was during the back and begging meditation that there were a few tears.
Yeah.
That was, to me, that was more relieving than ever just thinking, I've forgiven you and I've forgiven myself.
Right.
Because whenever I did that, thinking back, whenever I did that, it was kind of, it kind of felt like I was lying to myself. Right. But the actual meditation, it was a different experience.
Okay, great.
Totally different experience.
And someone's here has written about the forgiveness thing, but we kind of talked about this. When you say you forgive yourself and others, do you imagine yourself and that person at peace with each other, or imagine talking things through and then moving on? Well, John's more talking about the fact that he just used the meditation from back and begging a lot. But was there anything else you were thinking about forgiveness, or any scenes, or?
Actually, thinking about it, there was a scene where obviously I think that I thought that obviously we were both standing in the kitchen, forgiving each other for everything that went down.
Lovely.
So obviously that was more of a face-to-face forgiveness thought than obviously forgiving myself. Obviously thinking that I'm standing in front of myself, saying, obviously, I forgive you for everything. You don't have to worry anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Someone's written a question here. This is an interesting question. Was Sam's angry stage a reflection of his thinking, I fucked up? Now, if you think about how it gets reflected, the other person might be angry at you like it's your fault. So what we've got to understand is, even though Sam said, oh, that's what I'm like, I'll do the whole pushing you away, they're reflecting your story. And his story was, I fucked this up. So of course she's going to be angry. Yep. Because if his story is, I fuck it up, then whose fault is it? His. So who's she going to be angry at? Him.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how that works. Okay. So both John and Holly were the ones to initiate contact, even though with no expectations for the outcome, because their self-concept was so good at that point. If you're in no contact, how would that work? Just let the other person come in and initiate, since we don't have to do anything, right? Well, look, guys, you've got to understand, a lot of you think I say never do anything ever. You can do things. It's not like Neville would say you have to pay Caesar. Like, you have to go to your job to pay your bills. Like, we're not just sitting in our house or sitting in an ashram going and then Sam's going to turn up. Like, but everything you're doing is in line with the new you. So John and Holly were acting from the new them that was confident, right? So this person is saying, if you're in no contact, what do? Wait for them to initiate, since we don't have to do anything, right? What are your thoughts on that, John?
My thoughts on that are, you're focused too much on the fact that you're in no contact. I mean, you're always communicating telepathically. So, even when we were in no contact, I always affirmed that we're always in contact. She can't stop talking to me. So again, it sounds to me that you're focused on the fact that there is no contact. So I mean, I don't want to scare you, but you're going to create more of that.
Right.
You're going to end up staying in no contact if you're too focused on that.
Right. So I think this person has to go back and listen to what Sam was saying about how she was feeling and she was missing him. Now, John wasn't contacting her then. They just happened to be like coincidentally, and there are no coincidences, driving past each other in a small town. It's not like he orchestrated and he thought, right, I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to drive down this street and I'm going to drive back and forth until she sees me. You know, like John wasn't doing shit like that, okay? But he was living.
That's it. That's manipulating the 3D. And
he wasn't driving around and around and around at work.
She'll come past soon.
Okay, now. Okay, we're not doing that, guys. Okay, but what I'm saying is that John was living in the end of this is all going to work out. So while he's living in the end of this is all going to work out, she's missing him. She's telepathically getting the story. Oh yeah, I do miss him. I want this back. And he's going, yeah, it will be back, right? So you're so concerned what John's saying about the no contact, but he was thinking it's all going to work out. You're thinking, even by thinking there's no contact, that's the circumstance that's happening. John wasn't in the circumstance of no contact. Well, he probably was at first, but eventually got his head around, we're not in the no contact stage, we're in the it's all worked out stage in his mind. You're in the we're in no contact still stage.
Exactly. It stems back to the whole circumstances don't matter.
Right.
Like, look, obviously I don't want to keep going over the old story, but look at my circumstances. You know, there's divorce papers, there's no contact, there was a third party.
Mm-hmm.
None of that mattered to me.
Mm-hmm.
None of it.
Right. Someone's just written this. John, how do you cope with the third party? Affirm the third party gone via your affirmations or ignore it completely. You guys aren't getting this. He just said it. And you guys are asking, do I affirm about them? If you place your awareness upon them, they'll stay there, even with affirmations. What aren't you getting about this, guys? I said it so many times, and you still come back in here going, do you affirm about them? Why would you affirm about them if we're trying to take our attention away from them? But John may have, but in his affirmations, if you did do that, he's taking his attention still away from it. So you tell us, John, what you did, but that has annoyed me, that question.
I could tell you're gonna have a right rant in a minute.
No, but you tell us how are you feeling in your mind with any third party thoughts?
Right. Well, in a nutshell, I'm not going to say that, you know, I can't lie to you and say that I never thought about the third party, because obviously it's there, it's in front of you. So of course you're going to find it difficult to ignore it. So what I tended to do was I accepted the fact that I was the one that created that.
Right.
I accepted it and knew that I was changing it.
Exactly.
So, and after that, whenever a thought of the third party would come in, it would be, well, nobody compares to me anyway. And I still lived up here of me and Sam together. There was no thought of a third party involved.
And were you thinking like, well, she's my wife and she knows me and we've known each other a long time? What, like, were you having all those kind of thoughts? Like, this person's just a nothing burger.
Exactly. Again, again, it was mainly nobody compares to me. I know nobody compares to me.
Exactly.
We're the ones. She's married to me.
That's
so
my wife.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Nothing.
When you
else matters.
changed your thoughts the first time and then the second time, did it take you longer or half the time to change it the second time around? So was it easier the second time around?
No, it took longer the second time around because there was a time where I forgot everything. I literally, you know, I could try to affirm, but it was, you know, well, what's the point? You know, there was too many doubts the second time around. The first time around, obviously I don't want to get people's hopes up and say that, you know, you can, it happens overnight. But I think it was literally 1 month after my coaching call with Loz that I got her back. Literally 1 month. And I was as shocked as anybody, to be honest with you.
Right.
But this time around, yeah, it was obviously
was
for the
that, Sam?
first couple.
I said they've got to do the hard work. Don't expect
Yeah.
it to be put on a plate.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
So this time around was harder because you fucked up.
this time around, obviously, it was a lot harder. And like I said, I lost myself for a good couple of months because was more it was more wallowing in self-pity more than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, how could this happen? How could I do this? But then I started to take Loz's courses, and like I said, a kick-ass you was a reminder to me, like, yeah, what the fuck am I doing? Like, it was basically the kick up the arse I needed. Thankfully, I still haven't been shouted at by Loz before, so I'd like to keep it that way. But it was more of a reminder of what I'm capable of, and the fact that what I've manifested before, I can do it again, because circumstances don't matter.
Exactly.
So
when you were spiraling, other than the forgiveness work, what else really pushed you back to a positive mindset when you were spiraling? Like if you had a moment and you were spiraling, or when you were really at first really negative.
What tended to work for me the most is shouting at myself in the mirror.
Really?
If I'm being honest with you, yeah, it's me telling myself, like, you're the fucking shit. You're like, you are capable of fucking great things. And then obviously shouting, basically shouting my affirmations to myself, so that my brain would actually think, actually, no, yeah, this guy's got a point. This guy,
I've got to do that in the mirror instead of doing it as I'm taking the dog for a walk, because I look fucking nuts. John, how did you work on your self-concept, and how did you stay consistent? Oh, we've kind of already talked about that, but how did you stay consistent with your self-concept?
Well, again, it was more. It wasn't like I had any specific time. I didn't exactly set myself times to do my affirmations or anything. It was just when I felt the need to do them more than anything. And obviously, so obviously, whenever I'm driving to work or anything, I'd have it on repeat as I'm driving in. Whenever whenever a negative thought would try to sneak in, that's when I twist it, turn it to tell it to fuck off, and affirm against it. It's where when you look at it as something to do, like when you see it as a task, like, I feel that you're doing it just for the sake of doing it. You're not necessarily doing it to change your thinking. You're not really doing it to
that's why
change your thoughts.
Guys, routines, because you could stop the routine and then just go back to the thinking. That's not going to do anything.
Right? Exactly. So it was just whenever I felt like doing it, whenever I felt the need to, that's when I did it. Other than that, like, I just lived my life.
Right. You're desperate to believe it.
What was that, Sam?
Exactly. She's kind of hit the nail on the head here. It's kind of like you're doing it. If you're doing it constantly, it's like you're doing it because you're desperate.
Yeah.
You're not believing it.
You're trying to convince yourself that these are your new thoughts.
Yeah. We're trying to
Whereas
be
the only thing,
guys. We're trying to embody it, right? We're trying to be the new us. We're not trying to desperately change. We're like, we are changed. There's a difference, right? Oh, I'm thinking things that don't sound like I've changed. Oh, I'm going to think new things. I'm changed. You know what I mean? We're not going, got to do it. Now, some of you are like that still, and this question's giving me the shits. How long was he blocked for? Because he messaged her a few times. Who gives a flying fuck how long he was blocked for? That question, Veronica, shows me that you haven't listened to a word John said through this whole thing, or anything I've ever said my whole life. It doesn't matter how long he was blocked for, whether it was 50 years or 50 minutes. Why are you concerned about the blocking? But some of you, this is what you do with these stories. You go, I'm looking for the kernel in John's story that sounds like my story. Wait a minute, I'm waiting. Oh, he said blocked. Oh, yes, that's right, I'm blocked. Right, I need to find out. exactly how long and how many days it took. And you're like, guys, he has just said to you from the very fucking beginning of this that circumstances don't matter. He's just proven he's gone from the brink of divorce to back together and the divorce papers being torn up. And you're talking about something that you think matters, like the time that you are blocked. You're not listening. Why should John answer that fucking dumb question? Because that's a fucking dumb question, meaning you're not understanding this. Guys, who fucking cares? What do you think we mean when we say circumstances don't matter? Doesn't matter how long you're blocked or not blocked. For God's sake. Veronica, you need to watch this again and you need to fucking open your ears. Was back and begging the game changer, would you say? Well, I think he did a lot of things. I don't know if that was the game changer for...
I did a number of the courses. I did back and begging, kick ass you, fuck the 3D, and worthy as fuck for love.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say that a single one
but I think the forgiveness
changed the
part
game
of
for
worthy
me.
as fuck, so the forgiveness part of back and begging, and maybe the taking responsibility part of worthy as fuck for love might have been what helped.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was, it was parts of all of them, especially fuck the 3D with the whole mental diet, the whole mental diet diary. Yeah. That again was key.
Well, I think because your mental diet was so bad, you would have seen in the diary, oh no.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So it's it's parts of it. It's parts of all of them that were a game changer for me. It wasn't necessarily one course that.
Yeah, they've all got different elements in them, guys. That's why I write them, because I know some of you are really concerned about the 3D. Some of you really need to work on your worthiness in love. Some of you really need to go back to the self-concept stuff with kick-ass you. Some of you are just so concerned about getting them back. You need back and begging. It depends where your mind's at, which one you choose. So when you're choosing them, guys, read the blurb properly and think, what am I choosing here? Which thing do I actually need for me? Right? Because if you're really concerned about the 3D, fuck the 3D might be the first one you do. Right? Because you're so desperately concerned with it right now. You know what I mean? When your thoughts had changed, how long did it take from when you really changed, when you really changed your thinking? So I think they're saying, how long did it take for you to feel like you'd really transformed yourself back to a person who knew they had their power back?
After the first couple of months of obviously feeling like absolute shit and beating myself up, if I was to actually give a specific time frame on when things started to change, I think roughly about another, I'd say about another month after that. That's when other people started to reflect my thinking about myself, and like others would be repeating affirmations, and this is when it sort of clicked for me. It was like, see, it proved to me again what I'm capable of. And I'd say, what was it, roughly about another, I'd say about another couple of months after that, even obviously after all the dating and whatnot, about another 2 months after that, that's when obviously I just decided, you know what, let me reach out to her again, and there you go, and yeah, the rest is history. So I'd say all together, roughly about 5 months from total disaster, absolute shit show, to being back together.
Now, see,
roughly
5
about
months
5
for some of you might seem like a huge amount of time, but in the scheme of John and Sam's relationship, 5 months probably wasn't that long. But you've got to understand,
it went by so quick. Didn't even realize.
But he could have given up after a couple of weeks. He could have given up after a month. And some of you do throw in the towel after a month. You think, oh, this isn't working. It took him 5 months. It took Holly a whole year and a bit. And some of you are so quick to give up. You're like quitters. You're like the guy with the, he's tapping away at the goal, and there's the other guy tap, and you guys are like, fuck, and you walk away, and the goal was like right there.
And I've just noticed a comment for Aya, and she's hit the nail on the head. It's not the same for everybody. Please don't think that just because it's taken me 5 months, it's only going to take 5 months for you guys.
Stop comparing yourselves.
Because it can happen. It can happen in 6 months. It can happen in a year. It can happen next week.
Right. And that's the problem. Sometimes you guys read success stories and think, oh, but I've been doing this for XYZ time. It hasn't happened for me yet. And then you throw yourself with the success story.
You've thrown it all
Why are
out,
you doing that?
you've thrown it all out the window then, because you're still focused on the time.
Exactly. How did you know that you had completely forgiven her and yourself? After forgiveness, were there still unfavorable thoughts coming up? That's a good question.
There's always unfavorable thoughts. Even now, there's still unfavorable thoughts, because your mind is still trying to keep you safe. Just because your just because you've got your self concept so high, doesn't mean you're not going to be having negative thoughts. They're always trying to come in. It's how you switch them. It's how quickly you notice them. It's how quickly, so you don't act on them. It's how quickly you can switch them. It's how quickly you can affirm against them that matters.
Exactly. Hang on, where are we? You did that, John. How wonderful. Yes, guys.
Thank you.
I've always wondered how people bring manifestation combo up in the relationship. Oh, God, this is where we are in the chat. Oh, Jesus. There must be more questions towards the bottom. Hang on. What helped stop you from going back to the self-blaming?
It's not necessarily the self-blame anymore. Like that's I think that's what I did within the first couple of months. I was constantly blaming myself. There's a difference, there's a difference between thinking that to me personally, there's a difference between thinking that this is my fault and I've created this.
Acceptance is different from blame, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously I was able to accept, obviously, after a little while of, thinking that I created this whole shit show. Obviously, I accepted that I created it, but I also, exactly, it's all part of the forgiveness process. If you don't take accountability for it, then unfortunately you won't be able to change it. And that's probably one of the most important things that I had to relearn, was the fact that, okay, I've created this, but I forgive myself for creating this. And I know that I have the ability to change it. So as of now, I am changing it.
Exactly. John, did you believe your affirmations or just persist through them? So I don't know if they're talking about the early affirmations or what you were saying recently.
Your brain is always going to fight the new thinking, even with after after the coaching, after my coaching call and getting Sam back the first time, even with my self concept as it was at the time, your brain will always try to fight your new thinking, because there's so many years of you thinking like shit. So many years of you thinking like shit. It's not just your childhood. It's also you take it out into your adult life.
And you go back to it like a thermostat in a room, guys. Your room can get overheated,
so
blah, blah, blah.
easy.
And you just go straight back. Think about the way you have like a thermostat. And, the heater turns off and it goes, and then it heats back up. Oh, got to turn the heater back on. You'll just go straight back to the same temperature of you, right? So you've got to be vigilant to not go back there, right? And that's what I'm saying. John went back there, then he went down through the thermostat, past the temperature that he was at before, all the way down to the depths of the fucking earth.
I broke that fucking thing. I broke it. Yeah.
Someone's written, I'm loving these success lives. Both John and Holly's have so much of my circumstances in them, and I'm getting so much from these. Guys, this is the thing. I want to do these ones that have been dire circumstances, not only because I know the stories of both Holly and John, and Holly did a very early call with me, and then I hadn't spoken to her personally for a while, and I'd spoken to John more personally recently. But I need you guys to understand these stories, like John's story and Holly's story, the circumstances aren't great, guys. And you're coming in here with circumstances like, he told me last night he doesn't want a relationship. And you're like, John just got fucking divorce papers. I think that might be worse. Like, some of you are just freaking out about the smallest thing. And look at, I just want to use these two examples, Holly getting kicked out of the house on third party, John on the brink of divorce, for you guys to understand it can be so fucking bad, and you can turn this around. That's why I'm using these examples as well. And the thing is, guys, you've got to understand, this isn't the success story live John and Sam and I were going to have. We were going to have that, he got her back and they're married. Yay! That's the one we were going to have.
Yeah.
But maybe this one is the one that's going to teach all you fuckers who keep going on about the circumstances that circumstances don't fucking matter. Maybe that's the reason. There's a whole reason why this all happened, and it's all because we needed to see this live. Who knows?
I can't honestly, I can't stress it enough. I mean, it's it's easy for us. It's easy for us to say it, but it's a lot. It's a lot harder for you to possibly understand that. Honestly, circumstances don't matter. If you're focused so much on the circumstances, then you're just creating more of that.
Exactly.
And I really don't mean to say that to scare people, but look at Holly's circumstances, for example, last week. Like she, they were obviously shit circumstances, but she didn't let that change her thinking.
Exactly.
She didn't let that affect any her day-to-day routine.
She did it first.
If so to be.
Took her a while to not do it, but then she eventually really got it. And it's the same with you. You got it, and then you lost it, and then you had to get yourself back on the horse. Guys, we're just like Simone Biles on the beam. We just fell off, got to get back, right? So don't beat yourself up if you're worried about the circumstances right now. Don't beat yourself up if you are in dire circumstances or even semi-shit circumstances. Stop beating yourself up about it or thinking you can't fix it. Just because you think that right now doesn't mean it can't be fixed. I need you guys to use these success stories as examples for your life. That's the whole point of these. And every Monday now I'm bringing out a success blog. And what I want you guys to do is you're going to get the email. It's going to have a few examples, and then there's going to be blogs every Monday for you guys to go, oh, let's go and read some more examples of this. Because the more you can actually see the examples and what they did, and that a lot of the time in the squad and in the free group, especially in the squad, people tell you what they did. And I know so many of you want to ask the question, like, what did you do? What affirmations did you say? Really read the success stories, right? Because you'll get kernels out of each one of like, oh, that's what they were doing. And you'll see the theme. And the theme is working on themselves and changing their fucking thinking that caused it, right? Did you use the I don't need to fix anything sleep tapes as you would beat yourself up? Oh, did you use any sleep tapes like that one, or you didn't use sleep tapes or anything?
Oh, no, yeah, I use sleep tapes. I use sleep tapes, yeah, but it's more. I'm the type of sleeper that needs background noise.
Do you?
Yeah, so obviously I figured that the best background noise to use would be the sleep tapes, obviously.
I tried putting everything on last night. I could not fall asleep. I don't know if I was concerned about the interview or what I was doing, but I could not get to sleep. Just say they don't exist. Hang on, I'm reading more. John's taken literally every possible circumstance and shoved it right in the bin. Yes, I love that. Right yeah. Hang on. Oh, that's lovely, Loz. I've been asked many times in Life Breakers if I could spend 10 minutes on a bench with anybody, who would it be? My answer is you. Well, thank you, darling. Yes, they're a nothing burger. That's how we talk about three Ps. I really appreciate John being so open and vulnerable, sharing his story. We all can relate to John. So happy and proud of you. Yes, Dana.
Thank you.
Hang on. John, why are we the same person? Someone's written. Hang on. I loved how Sam wasn't fully understanding manifesting in the beginning, and here she is fully understanding. So cool. It is so cool. Congratulations to you and your beautiful wife and family. So happy for you. You did that. Yes.
Thank you.
Aww, wonderful. So guys, he is a mentor and always has been a mentor in the group. But while his brain was off in, the depths of hell, he probably wasn't feeling like answering your questions. But he's back now. So
I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
I'm back.
Back and better than ever. So guys, the mentors in the group, anybody watching this anywhere else like YouTube, they're the people I've handpicked that I know really understand the law, really understand what they've created and how they've created their circumstances and pulled themselves out of them. Now, they're not necessarily people who've had like raging huge success stories or it's a selection of people. Some of the people are people who are just brilliant at answering questions. Other people are people who've had amazing success stories. It's a selection of people, and they're all in the Q&A answering your questions. And they also go live every Monday. There's a UK time slot and a US time slot. And John soon will go live on Mental Monday if he wants to. So he can answer more of your questions then. So if there's any questions here I haven't answered yet, or anyone watching this has got more questions for John or Sam, then John can really be answering those on the Mental Monday. I mean, Sam, you can come too if you want to be on Mental Monday.
I just said to John, I'm joining the crew. That's nice.
Join the crew, yes, come and join the crew.
I'm here to help. That's fine.
Sam, can we see? I just want to see your face and say thank you. Thank you, darling. We love you so much. And I'm so happy for you, darling. I'm so thrilled you guys are back together. I can't tell you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm so happy for you both. And thank you so much for being here. And I know you feel safe off the screen. But we loved having your insight, darling. It's so wonderful.
You're welcome.
Yay. Oh, thank you, John. Guys, this has been a long time in the making, this success story, and I've wanted to interview John for like years.
Years.
Here we are. Oh, so is there anything else you want to say, John, darling?
Just like, well,
Bloody listen.
Yeah, listen to loss, listen to the mentors. Like, it's honestly, if you're saying that this stuff is hard, then it's going to constantly be hard for you. Obviously, it's, you know, again, stop focusing on time. If you're focusing on time, you're going to be manifesting more of it.
Yeah.
And you know, I just like to you know, reiterate that circumstances do not matter.
Okay.
You know, look at me. Honestly, I don't mind going over the old story because it's the old story. That's you know, to me it's dead and buried.
Yeah.
You know, look at my circumstances. You know, I'm living proof that even though your self-concept is on point, you can still fuck shit up.
Right. And that's the thing. I think it's the fucking it up when you've worked on it. It's even worse because you'll feel so bad about yourself because you're like, I did it. I had my mind all right, you know. But guys, you can come back from that. And John is like 1,000% proof of that. That it doesn't matter what's happened. Even if you've got them back and lost them again, it doesn't matter. You can fix this. You can fix this.
And
Wonderful.
It's all about you.
Exactly.
It's not about them. Honestly, it's all about you. When you focus on yourself, your specific person focuses on you.
Oh, guys, I'm so happy for you. Yay! All right, I'll let you guys go. You go to bed. It's bloody late there. And I apologize. I was drinking coffee the whole way through this, guys. I'd literally just woken up. It's like 7 in the morning here, 6 when we started, and I was late, and I was half asleep. All right, guys. Oh, thank you so much, Sam and John. We love you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And John can answer your questions on Mentor Mondays and also in the Q&A inside the Subconscious Laws Squad. All right, guys. See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
John and